Hello, this is Craig DeForest, the Program Director for Main Campus Compact, and I'm really excited to share with you this opportunity for your campus to receive a $5,000 sub-grant through the Environmental Protection Agency's sub-grant program for environmental education. Um, so before I begin, just want to mention that this video is really sort of meant to be a condensed version for you to get the gist of what this grant is about and the requirements, and that it's taking the place of an in-person info session that some states are holding and some are not. So if you're watching this video, whether it was because you were unable to attend the in-person info session or because your state isn't having one, I would just encourage you to call your state campus compact office to ask questions you might have or get any clarification you might need about this grant and timelines, deadlines, requirements, all of that. Or to definitely make sure and attend any scheduled conference call that was put together as a follow-up to this video, so that you can talk with other campuses on that call to get some ideas about what others are doing. So as you can see, we have this RFP that we've now released at the time that you're watching this video, and we will award $5,000 to 19 institutions of higher ed, 11 in Maine, 4 in New Hampshire, and 4 in Vermont. There will be a competitive application process. The background here is that we've been awarded a $150,000 grant, and this was a collaboration between Maine, New Hampshire, and Vermont campus compacts. The main goal here is to get campuses on board to participate in this who are really understanding of the importance of preparing their students for a lifetime of environmental stewardship. And what we mean by that is just environmental stewardship in the sense that there's this responsibility for environmental quality that we all share, and that students would leave college with that understanding and make sure that their life and work has a balance of that environmental sustainability piece in it with everything that they do, and just be conscious of that. And this came about because we really saw a conversation happening on all of our campuses over a number of years, and it was worked into Main Campus Compact's strategic plan. So we sought out this funding in conjunction with that. Another piece of this is that we're looking for campuses to commit to changing systems on their campus to better support environmental education by embedding environmental community projects into existing or new courses. And we'll talk about that a little bit later. As you can see in this second paragraph here, we are going to support campuses, a team of faculty, and a staff member who's been designated as sort of the project manager to make sure that all of the grant requirements are being met. And we're requiring that campuses deliver at least 4 community-engaged courses, each partnering with community organizations to address either climate change or water quality issues, and we'll talk more about that in a minute. The last paragraph here emphasizes that this is sort of the beginning of what we hope is a much larger opportunity here, possibly to leverage these funds and this project to try and have more impact, have a larger statewide, regional conversation and some action that takes place, and we would hope that the campuses involved in this would be a part of that conversation as well in talking about the role that higher ed has in addressing environmental issues. So the proposals are due April 5th, and now we'll go into a little more detail of what those should incorporate. So the program goals are, as I said, to prepare college students for a lifetime of environmental stewardship, to create and sustain changes in the delivery of courses for ongoing environmental ed of students in all fields of study. So that's something I want to emphasize here, is that we're not looking for faculty to participate in this, just faculty who are from environmental disciplines. We really want to see a wide range from each campus. So maybe it's an art department, sociology, psychology, just a wide array, who are willing to explore embedding some sort of community project that has to do with environmental awareness or action in their community. And the third piece, which I sort of just got into, was to complete environmental community projects in our communities on an annual basis. And if you look down at the strategic priorities, as I said, each selected campus will have at least 4 faculty participants from multiple disciplines who will either design a new course or redesign an existing course to incorporate an environmental community project. And the 2 areas that we chose based on the EPA's strategic priorities were climate change and water quality. We felt like climate change was a pretty broad area that we could really give a lot of opportunities to campuses with that category. And I just want to reemphasize that point, as I did here in the RFP, that faculty are not limited to just designing brand new courses, and we know that that can take time to get approval on campus, if any at all. So we're really open to and encouraging the idea of redesigning existing courses, especially for faculty who are new to this, to community engagement through a course. So grant basics. We're awarding, as I said, 19 campuses. You can see the breakdown there. The maximum grant is $5,000, and there is a cost share requirement of a 1/3 match. So that can include in-kind of staff time, and we'll go over what we're expecting as far as a budget goes, but we're not expecting a budget in the grant proposal. No campus may receive more than 1 award, so we hope that you'll work together to get a team together who agrees on how they're going to move forward and come at this as one unit. Funds will be dispersed in August of this year upon receipt of a project budget and action plan, which will take place after an institute that we hold. So again, not expecting a budget from you now. As far as eligibility goes, pretty simple. Proposals can only be submitted from Maine, New Hampshire, and Vermont campuses who are members of Campus Compact. Each campus must have at least 4 faculty members who have committed to participating should you receive the grant, and you must have a designated person who will be the project manager that is essentially the main contact for each state and is responsible for ensuring that the grant requirements in terms of reporting and tracking are filled. General requirements, reporting, that first paragraph just talks about how reporting will be a requirement a couple times throughout the year minimally, and then just a larger report that's a summarization of everything that's taken place and those outcomes at the end of the year. We do, and we're super excited about offering a Faculty Development Institute and a training for the project managers from each campus in Portland, Maine. All 3 states will come together to start a learning community around climate change and water quality, and also community engaged courses. So there will be instruction and discussion around how to go about developing these courses or redesigning your existing courses, and all of the requirements of the grant at that point. So, and we're really happy to be offering 1 night at a hotel for free, as well as food for this event, and that will be in June. The third general requirement, each campus must commit to participating in an action planning process with the goal of sustaining these courses that have been developed or redesigned, and with the additional goal of increasing the number of courses that have an environmental community project associated with them after this grant has ended. And we think that this is really doable, especially based upon the conversations we're hearing campuses have that, you know, graduates coming out of school, this is going to be a defining issue for them. So for them to really have experience with specific community environmental issues and hands-on experience dealing with those is going to be a really key component of their higher education, and we're hoping that that will increase, especially as the share of the job market that's taken up by those types of jobs increases as well. So there'd be an action planning process to commit to, and there'd be instruction and some planning time that you could have at the Development Institute to start that action plan. Finally, as we've said, participating faculty will develop or redesign an existing course with an environmental community project within 2 terms of participation in this institute. So the institute will take place in June, and the whole summer will be available for planning, redesigning a course to embed it with this community project component, developing a new course, and then faculty will be required to either deliver that course in the fall or the spring, and they'll have support from the campus compacts and the consultants that we have for this project through campus visits and phone calls. So next page of the RFP, the timeline. Looking at this on a large scale, we have our info session, which is either through this video or in person, February 7th. And then March 1st, we do require letters of intent to be sent to your state campus compact office. So if you're a New Hampshire campus, please send that letter of intent to the campus compact for New Hampshire, and the same for each other state. Just indicating in general your intent to apply for this grant, and then April 5th we have the proposal deadline set for, and we'll announce the recipients of these sub-grants for $5,000 on April 16th. As I said, in June, this Development Institute will take place in Portland, which is a really fun place if you're from out of state or somewhere in Maine and have not ventured to Portland. You'll have a free night at a hotel, and there's a lot to do. It should be beautiful, June. So we look forward to hosting that and having some great time to network across all 3 of our states. It doesn't get to happen very often. All summer, campuses will be preparing action plans for how to sustain those courses, and also how to include some faculty development for these faculty participants throughout the year on your own campus, and how to use some of your funds, some of that $5,000 to do that. There are pre- and post surveys that we have for students that are developed, that are currently being developed, and we will require students to take at the beginning and end of these courses that are delivered. We are also offering an additional Faculty Development Institute and then training for those project managers in November for those campus teams who cannot make it in June. Of course, then those campuses would have the spring and the summer to deliver courses, as opposed to those who participate in the June Institute would have the fall and the spring to deliver. Those who participated in the later institute would have spring and summer of 2014 to deliver their courses. We're really hoping that a lot of folks can attend that first session, but we've got the other one set as well, and we do plan to hold it. But we would like your team to attend all together. So if you could figure out, if you do receive the grant, just determine which one you'll attend. The rest of that's pretty self-explanatory. Once the final reports are due at the end of this whole process, we do hope to collect the completed syllabi from all faculty so that we can submit those to the National Campus Compact database on their website so that other faculty from campuses across the U.S. of any discipline, can figure out how they might incorporate environmental community projects into their courses. It's definitely an area that there's a growing interest in, so we're excited about to be able to lead in that way. So how to apply? Again, letter of intent is due March 1st, and the emails and addresses, mailing addresses, are at the bottom of this page for you to submit your letters of intent to. Please download an application cover sheet from our website, maincompact.org. The link's right there. That's not up there at the moment, but by the time you're watching this video, it should be. Third section here of how to apply is the proposal, the general proposal piece. So include that application cover sheet, and within that, it should not exceed 4 pages. So the application cover sheet plus 3 additional pages. That cover sheet includes signatures, basically, from everyone who's committing to and approving this grant submission. And then the second piece is a team narrative, not to exceed 3 pages, which would answer 1, why does your campus wish to participate? How does it fit with the overall goals of your campus? 2, who's participating? Who are the faculty? What are their experiences with community-based learning? Definitely want to emphasize that none are required. We'd love a wide array of experiences and a knowledge base about this type of teaching on the team. And then, what are the reasons for participating? Which environmental priorities will you address? Again, that's either climate change or water quality. And you can choose both if you wish. And I want to emphasize here that the faculty participating in this do not have to be working with the same community partner on the same project or issue area. Each faculty member can be as independent or collaborative as they would like with each other to work on a similar type of project. But as far as we're concerned, everyone can have sort of a separate community partner, and that's just fine. That would be up to you. And then if you have any anticipated community partners, definitely let us know in this application. But also want to offer here that we will have a list of and contact information of a number of community partners who are available and willing to partner for environmental projects in the fall or spring, or both. So you'll have that option to get in contact with some people who we've already touched base with. And then just a brief statement of programmatic capability. So, what are the qualifications of the staff member who's going to be the project manager? Have they managed grants before? And this is a small grant, so there aren't tons of requirements. It won't be tons of staff time, but just a little bit of an overview of that individual and the campus's ability to manage that. And then, have you received a grant through Campus Compact for an environmental focus before, or an EPA grant before? If so, just explain how it might be related to this grant, or how it builds upon that. And that's it. And please email the proposal package as one PDF document, so that cover page and then the 3-page narrative, to the correct state and corresponding email address and Also, we would like an original proposal with original signatures submitted through the U.S. Postal Service to your state campus compact office. Those addresses are listed right here. Review process, we're basing it on the clarity of the proposal, the degree to which you clearly identify what faculty are participating and the environmental priorities, and a feasible plan to reach objectives, which you're not going to have tons of objectives at this point, because a lot of those will come after the Development Institute and training. But if you do have some pretty clear objectives, feel free to include those and talk about a little bit about what your plan might be. And then just a commitment to the action planning process. And again, we'll notify campuses on April 16th of the decisions. Ineligible activities. These are just right from the EPA. We have not put any sort of other ineligible components for the use of these funds on top of what the EPA has. This is what they list. So no technical training of environmental management professionals, no environmental information or outreach projects that have no additional educational component. Anything that we're going to be doing, I think, as campuses and faculty will all obviously have an educational component. The students may be working on an outreach or informational community project, but within that, they're doing the critical thinking and problem solving and decision-making skills around environmental topics that the EPA is looking for when they talk about environmental education. So just know that that's just naturally sort of encompassed as the work that we do in being campuses who are concerned with being engaged. No advocacy that promotes a particular point of view or course of action. And then no lobbying or political activities as they define in these OMB circulars, and they have the links listed right there. And then no non-educational research and development. I don't think we'll have an issue with that. Construction projects is the last piece that maybe if you were thinking you had a community partner and you wanted to use some of your funds to support project materials, and those happen to be materials that had to do with construction, that would not be allowed. For whatever reason, they don't fund construction activities. So that brings about the question: what can funds be used for? Rather, it's pretty wide open. So as we said, the matching funds, which is 33% of the funding of that $5,000, on top of that, you have to match, and that can be used. That can be noted as staff time. That's fine. As far as the actual $5,000 goes, it could be used for materials that are going to be used at a community project site, printing costs, some maybe a little bit of time that the faculty might use in some extra work that they do to embed this environmental component. We definitely would want another piece of the $5,000 to go toward some faculty development that is planned for those participating and outside faculty throughout the year around environmental community engagement. And there isn't anything, I made sure to check, is there anything that says we can't give some funding to community partners? And there isn't. So if you have, identified and established a relationship with a community partner, or you will at some point if you participate, then there's nothing that says you couldn't also have a part of that $5,000 budget go to that community partner that you're partnering with on this community project. So that's really a great thing too, and a great thing for your institution to be able to give that money to them. So that was the real basics, and I think it might be hard to grasp in just going through the RFP what this looks like from a big picture, but to give a a quick example of what this might look like for a campus before I run out of my time limit that I set for myself. Um, so you gather together, you get 4 faculty from a variety of disciplines to participate in this $5,000 project. Someone might be from an environmental department, and someone else might be from social work, for example. And then you have another 2 faculty, and you have 1 project manager. Everyone comes to a training in June. For the faculty, it's an institute where there's a lot of peer learning around community engaged teaching and learning, and also a big focus on these 2 environmental issues of climate change and water quality. And we will have John Saltmarsh, who's going to be one of the co-facilitators for that, and he's had a lot of experience in this area, so we're excited about that. Again, that's taking place in Portland, Maine in June. So the team comes together for this institute and training, goes back, spends the summer planning and putting together courses, much of which will actually be done at that institute, but you'll have the whole summer to really redesign a course or develop a new course rather, and then put together a budget for how that $5,000 is going to be used. And then the course is delivered for each faculty member either in the fall or the spring. Now, what might a course look like? So for that faculty member who might be in the environmental department, this is an example specifically from Unity College that took place several years ago. So a faculty member developed this introductory chemistry course where students addressed an arsenic contamination problem in Down East Maine water wells while they were gaining these water chemistry and analysis skills. So as their community project, the students partnered with a few community organizations, and they actually held a water fair where they offered community members free water testing and analysis and educated residents about the importance of testing well water on a regular basis. So in just thinking about that, you can see that through the process of this community project, students moved through becoming aware of a water quality issue. They then gained knowledge about the underground movement of contaminants, leaching, chemical analysis, all of that, and thought critically about the causes and approaches to addressing the problem. And then they made decisions about how to educate homeowners and provide them testing. And they problem solved on multiple levels to do this outreach and event planning. And then finally they took action through a water fair. So that was sort of a water quality focus, and that's a heavily environmentally focused course where there's some pretty technical things going on there. But let's look at a social work example. So this is an example from a 2011 USM social work class. They worked with new immigrant English language limited families to provide them with basic knowledge about home energy conservation. So they targeted families who came from countries with warmer climates and knew very little about saving money and energy through passive heat management practices. So through this community project, they became aware of climate change issues. They gained knowledge about community education, especially cross-cultural communication, some basic household energy conservation measures, and ways to establish rapport with new clients. So you can see it really fits in with their field, but it has this huge environmental component. And so they thought critically about how to address this problem. They incorporated research about cultural sensitivity to make decisions about what approaches they might take to initiate contact and select energy conservation practices to promote in this community outreach. And again, there was that problem solving around outreach, information materials, and encounters in general. And then they took action through gathering free or low-cost energy saving items, preparing info sheets that were visual, non-language based. So these are two pretty different examples. One was very environmentally heavy because of the nature of the course, but one was a completely different field where you can see that they were still able to incorporate that environmental community project in a way that was really relevant to their coursework. So we're hoping to see a wide variety of disciplines taking place in this because we really think it's possible in any discipline, and we're really excited to see how that takes root. So that ends my half an hour spiel there. And I would just reference one more area of the RFP we didn't cover, which is super important if you're thinking about some of the benefits of participating. I won't go through all of these, but I hope that you'll review them. One of the things we think as an institution you'll get by participating is increasing retention and engagement in courses. We know that community engagement does that for students, that it really keeps them engaged, and we've seen that through research that we've done over the years. And we also really think that you have an opportunity to inspire students to be lifelong stewards of the environment and gain skills that are super relevant to their careers. We also can give, as Campus Compact, statewide and national recognition through publicity for this project. I think it's a really big deal. We're partnering with the EPA. This is a great opportunity, and I think with that name attached to it, we can spread information and awareness about what we're doing as a group pretty far. Participating faculty will receive some really great discussion and sharing opportunities and presentations from some people who have great experience in this field, and an opportunity to really develop some great courses at this institute, which we value at around $600 for covering that hotel. We're really excited to be able to do that. And then have the opportunity to just collaborate with each other and present after this whole process is over. We want to come back together and present to each other about some of these outcomes, what we found, and what sort of impact we might have had. And finally, for students, through participating in this, they're going to expand their network by linking in with these community partners. And we know that they're going to increase their knowledge of the local community. And something that we are really excited about is equipping them with the knowledge and hands-on experience around these environmental challenges that we think will really give them an advantage going out into the workforce as these number of green jobs really continues to grow in the future. So definitely contact your State Campus Compact office if you have any questions. And please review this RFP thoroughly. And I think that's about it. So again, we're really excited to offer this. Don't hesitate to contact us. And we look forward to receiving your letters of intent on March 1st and then your proposals after that on April 5th. Thanks so much.